Want to be a Buena Park police officer? We'll give you a little bit of insight just how you might be able to. This is Crime Watch.
Hello, I'm Corey Sainez. I'm your police chief here in the city of Buena Park. We're coming to you today from our police department training room. And this is where our officers receive training on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. But it also is the room where I have what we call our Chiefs Advisory Board. And our Chiefs Advisory Board is made up of 15 community members, a very diverse group of community members that are business owners, that have full-time jobs, attorneys, members of the ACLU, housewives, and other influential people in this community that are part of a team that helps me form policies, strategies, and provides input on law enforcement issues in this community. It was formed a little over a year ago. And in fact, tonight we are having a meeting and we're going to discuss the pros and cons of body-worn cameras. And as you know, body-worn cameras is a significant issue in this nation right now, and a lot of departments are going to body-worn cameras for transparency and to build trust in our communities. And so the Buena Park Police Department, your police department, is looking at soon implementing a body-worn camera program, probably beginning of next year. And so what I'm going to discuss tonight with our Chiefs Advisory Board is I want their input. I want to hear what they believe are the issues, pros and cons to law enforcement officers in their community having body-worn cameras and going to calls for service where that body-worn camera is going to be used. So I'm quite interested in hearing what they have to say tonight. I've already received some emails from some of them, and there's both sides of the spectrum as far as pros and cons. So it'll be an interesting 2 hours spending with members of our community listening to what they think about body-worn cameras and transparency when it comes to law enforcement. So that ought to be very interesting. That's one thing we're doing. Another thing I want to talk about just briefly is we are very involved in the community, and I'm sure some of you know that one of the things we do every year is we have a Relay for Life golf tournament, and we raise funds for cancer research. And over the last 6 years, we've raised over $100,000 that we have donated to the American Cancer Society to help fight that terrible disease. But one other thing that we're doing here, and we're doing it starting October the 1st, and we're not the only department. There's many agencies throughout California. We're doing what we call a pink patch project. So these pink patches are to bring awareness to breast cancer. And all the money that we raise from the pink patch project will go to St. Jude Breast Cancer Center located here in Fullerton. And again, to bring awareness and to do our part in providing some funding to help research and fight this terrible disease. So starting October the 1st, you'll see Buena Park police officers wearing the pink patches on their uniform as a way to demonstrate their awareness and to help fight this terrible disease. We are selling these patches for $10 a piece, and you can look on our Buena Park Police Department website, and it has the contact information and how you can obtain one of these patches. So we want everybody to participate, so please, if you get a chance, go on our website and order your patch as a way to represent your community and help fight this terrible disease of cancer. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you here in the next 3 or 4 months.
clearly just went to the first two cars. We went to the unit and the suspected car. We made sure those were clear first, because in case the officer's in there. And we made our way down to the parking lot, called out his name, which he was able to respond. She was the officer down. We made our way over there. But one thing we got to remember, we still got to have our 360 cover. We picked up the officer and then retreated back. Fortunately, he was able to walk, so we just picked him up instead of carrying him all the way over here. That's one thing you guys want to ask, if they could even walk. Maybe they just need help getting up. It's going to make your job much easier and you're going to have more cover. And then as we went to the officer down, we retreated. The suspect did come out behind the car. We engaged. Shooter went down. We secured the weapon and carried the officer back. You guys have any questions about how that went down?
No, sir.
You guys good?
Yes, sir.
Now let's get the other team going.
Let me see your hands. Put your hands up.
Hello and welcome to Crime Watch. I'm Jane Cameron with Sergeant Mike Levchick of the Buena Park Police Department. Have you ever thought about being a police officer? Well, we have a group of individuals here who are thinking just about that. So can you explain a little bit about what we're looking at, Sergeant?
Well, in this particular situation, we're looking at our group of police explorers who are ages ranging from about 16 to 21, if I'm not mistaken. And what they do is they're learning the ropes. They're learning how to be police officers in their age group. But their long-term goal is to become a police officer. And in the second group that we're going to go take a look at, they are a little older than some of these guys here. However, they are in the very first stages of applying for the job. So they have a meeting tonight, an orientation meeting tonight, where they kind of get a real good exposure of what they can expect.
And they're already gaining exposure here. Mike DeCasian, you're a captain in the Explorers group. What are you doing out here with all the other explorers?
Right now, I'm trying to get them trained because we have upcoming competitions where all the departments in Orange County will actually meet up together and go upon each other with their different police tactics that we have. Right now, we just went over the officer down scenario, which is one of the many different scenarios that we have in the competition.
I hear that the Buena Park Explorers tend to win a lot of awards in the past.
We do. We usually
They're good.
Yeah, we sweep up house. We're really good. We push hard for it.
So how does being in the Explorer group help you to determine if you want to be a police officer?
Oh man, one of the primary things that it does, it kind of puts you out there to really experience what the law enforcement field is about. We have these different programs. We have the training that we do. We go through the penal codes. We have ride-alongs that really give you the experience of what it is to go out on a shift.
And Sergeant, it really lets them understand what being a police officer is. It's not just about having fun. You do have fun, but there's a lot of other things that go on.
There's a lot of discipline in this group, and I'll tell you this much: they go through it extraordinarily. They are a great, hardworking group of kids, and like I said, it gives them an idea of what to expect out there. And I'll be honest with you, watching some of these guys do what they do, it's kind of go, gosh, I wish I could remember how to do that kind of stuff. So, but
or the parents are saying, because I'm sure your family is happy that you're in this almost a paramilitary regimented group.
Oh yeah, they really like it. They've seen the change in me. It's kind of from where I was before the program to where I am now. It's really helping mature, really realize what I want in my life and focus out for my goals.
And that helps the next group who's actually looking at applying as a police officer. So let's go join them and see what the next step would be in a career of being a law enforcement officer.
If you want to have a job in this profession, if you want to be successful, you have to hold your head up high, your shoulders high, because you're going to deal with people who think they can do your job better than you. They sit there, the keyboard warriors of the world, and watch a video that's 5 seconds long and make a determination on how that was supposed to be done. You have less than a second. Less than a second to change someone's life and your own life like that. Have you thought about it? Because this is what this job's about. 98% of the time, it's easy peasy. Handle your calls, do your thing. And the next thing you know, the world around you comes crumbling down. Crumbling down. People are running everywhere, they're running away, and you're running into that. And you have to put that together. And you have to do it fast. So are you quick enough? Are you smart enough? More importantly, you have heart enough to make those decisions and not be afraid. So I tell you what, everybody in computer land and internet land is all brave when they're sitting in their mom's basement. But they don't dare put this uniform on or wear this badge. So if you think you can handle that, then you're in the right place. I want to congratulate all of you right now because there's 150 names back there. We're down to 73. Cut down in half. We'll have a written process at some point.
So we were just with the police explorers who are starting to look at a career in law enforcement. Well, just recently, Lieutenant Nunes addressed the applicants who are actually applying to be a police officer. What did you think of the crowd?
Well, it was an interesting crowd. You think with all the negative light cast on law enforcement these days and all the tragedies that are occurring, that people wouldn't want to come into this job. So it was actually refreshing to see young people, middle-aged people, just a wide variety of men and women who still want to come into this profession, which is an honorable profession. It is very demanding and requires a lot of the personnel who wear the uniform.
One of the police explorers that we interviewed talked about how it's a life with the badge. And he was intimating that it doesn't stop when you stop doing your shift, but it involves your whole life and what you really are.
And that's true. Being a police officer is a 24/7, 365 profession. It isn't just a job, it is who you are. It changes your friends. It changes how you eat in a restaurant. It changes your family and their habits. And the main thing is, whether you're on duty or off duty, your conduct is always got to be above board. You're held to a higher standard, and we expect the people we hire to live by that.
And you mentioned that each one of them, if they were a police officer, represent all the police officers in the country if they do something wrong.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen historically incidents that happen across the nation where police officers acted wrong, and their behavior affected us here in Buena Park, much in LA, everywhere else. Because when it's all said and done, no one looks at a patch on your shoulder, they look at that badge. And so we're all cast in that light. So something negative that happens here affects everyone.
So the applicants have a long road ahead of them, including what I think most people consider the dreaded background. You know, the background is tough, right? But you're looking for the best?
Exactly. The background is where we vet out people who have integrity, right? This is a profession where we expect the best. But when we say the best, doesn't mean a saint or someone who's perfect. Someone who could be honest. And we realize that people have made mistakes along the way. But what have they done to improve and to correct those mistakes? That's what we're looking for. I always say that this is the only profession where just because of the uniform I wear and the badge that I wear, that a perfect stranger will allow their child to come up to me and stay with me, because there's some integrity that goes with this uniform. So we want to make sure we pick the right people from the human race to keep that trust.
And to work with you, because they've got your back, you've got theirs.
It is. This is a family. This is a partnership. I lay my life in their hands, and they expect they'll lay their lives in my hand, and we have to trust each other. We have to back each other up.
We mentioned to you about the police explorers and how it's an ability for them to start in their law enforcement career. Well, we're with Officer Gonzalez, who used to be one of the Buena Park Police Explorers.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did the Explorers program help you to become a police officer?
Well, first of all, it gave me the opportunity to firsthand experience law enforcement, and it allowed me to see that this is a career that I wanted to pursue. And at the age of 16, I went on my first ride-along, and I said, this is what I want to do. So
pretty amazing that you actually got hired by Buena Park Police.
Yeah, I actually, initially when I became old enough to apply as a police officer, Buena Park wasn't hiring, so I applied to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and I was a deputy there, and then I applied here and I came back home.
That's great that you say come back home.
Yeah.
So, what is it now? Being an explorer, what have you learned as a police officer that still surprises you, even with all that preparation?
You can constantly be training, and you think that you've seen some situations, and then it turns out to be something completely different. So, yeah, you may do a car stop, and as an explorer, you do them, and okay, you get certain things out of it. But in reality, out here on the field, a car stop can lead to anything. So just expect the unexpected, pretty much.
Quite often, what we've been talking about too is how, even though you're off shift as a police officer, you're still a police officer in your regular life. How has that worked for you?
It's actually it's funny you say that, because I noticed a difference from before I was a police officer to now. You just look at the world through a different set of eyes, I feel. You're just constantly alert, be aware of your surroundings.
When you're off duty.
Right, yeah, it's funny, like I hear footsteps behind me and I'm just alert. I don't like people standing behind me. It's just different.
What about, have you lost friends because you're now a police officer?
Not lost friends, but I don't hang out with them as much because I'm busy working and my days off. I just like to relax, recover, and just spend time with my family.
So if somebody was looking at a law enforcement career, what kind of advice would you offer them with whatever it may be, just to pursue that goal?
Just to stay out of trouble, number one, stay out of trouble, and just realize that it's not going to be easy, that it's a tough road, but if you're determined and you set your goals to where you want to be, it's definitely possible. Then just to not give up.
Is it worth it?
Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Why?
I'm so sometimes I'm like in the patrol vehicle, I'm driving, I'm here out on patrol, and I kind of slow down and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe I'm out here. This is my job. I'm so happy, you know. So I'm just excited to come to work. And when you're that happy to come to work, I mean, it's not work. You're enjoying being out here.
So Sergeant Lovechick, is it because he's new that he's still so excited, or do you think he's going to carry that on?
You know, I need to can his enthusiasm and give it to a whole bunch of the old guys too sometimes, I think. No, he brings up a lot of points. I mean, it's obviously he's just starting his career, and I'm towards the end of my career, but you know, I'll tell you, it's just in your blood. You know, it's something that you do, and you can't get it out of your blood. It's an exciting job. And again, like I said, he's got all the time ahead of him, but I tell you, his enthusiasm is incredible, and you need that in this job. You really do, because you see a lot of horrible things, and if you don't keep your sanity amongst you like that by having an open mind and enthusiastic like he is, you know, it tends to eat on you, and you just really got to make sure you keep a happy face about it. And he's got that happy face that you just can't stop. So.
Well, and Lieutenant Nunes had mentioned that this is a marathon. Mm-hmm. So you're talking exactly what that is. You're shaking yes, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's career survival, and it's a long road. So, you know, you just have to constantly weigh every situation and think long term, evaluate the whole situation. And a lot of times it's hard because, you know, things are happening rapidly, and you have to take everything into effect. So, yeah.
And don't turn out old and grumpy like maybe Sergeant Lovechick is.
No, not at all.
Careful. I still got a little bit of enthusiasm in me.
We know because you do this show.
Right. That is right.
So if you have any questions about tonight's show or being a law enforcement officer, you can call the Buena Park Police Department at 562-3901. With Sergeant Lovechick, I'm Jane Cameron. Thanks for watching.